The only regret I have about buying the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller is that I didn't buy it sooner. The thing's a game changer. So whether you're an older or average gamer or somebody who plays professionally, this controller does the job. Is it perfect? No. We'll talk about the issues I've run into. There's a lot to discuss, so let's start now. Thanks for watching the video. I'm Boomer, I'm old and trying my best to compete in online shooters. We have a lot to dive into, so I'll kind of set the stage here. I've broken the video into 4 parts: hardware, customization, software, and issues I've experienced. In the 18 months I've used the controller, I've only run into 2 issues. Not too bad. Near the end of the video, I'll tell you all about those. Before we talk hardware, let me just say the number one reason I use the controller is that with it, you never have to take your thumbs off the sticks to jump, slide, reload, crouch, switch weapons, or chunk grenades. You can remap all those functions to the rear paddles. Normally, they would be linked to the A, X, Y, or B button. In fast-paced shooters like Warzone, not having to take your thumb off the aim and movement stick gives you an enormous boost over an opponent who has to take his or her thumb off the right analog stick to do all those things we just talked about. The first thing you notice about the controller is that it's stout. It feels solid. I mean, you feel the difference immediately. It fits comfortably in your hands and has wraparound grips that keep it tight. I've never dropped it, and I can't ever remember having it slip in my grip. The thing feels good. If you buy it, you get a nice carrying case that doubles as a charger if you play wirelessly. You also get a set of 6 thumbsticks, 2 standard, 2 classic, 1 tall, and 1 wide dome. I use the tall option as the right analog stick because the increased height gives you better aim precision. You get a set of 4 paddles installed on the back of the controller, 2 D-pads, a thumbstick adjustment tool, charging dock, and a very durable braided USB-C cable. I recommend you play using the cable rather than playing wirelessly so you avoid even the slightest of input lag. The controller gives you 30 customization options to play the style most comfortable for you. The thumbstick adjustment tool also allows you to change tension on the sticks. I tighten mine as far as they'll tighten because when I move the sticks, I want immediate fast twitch output. Each trigger on the controller can also be adjusted to the 3 different settings, allowing more or less squeezing required to shoot your gun. When milliseconds count, not having to fully pull the trigger for it to output bullets can be the difference between winning or losing a gunfight.
Constantly being pressed over a lifetime.
The front of the controller offers a profile customization button so that you can map the controller 3 different ways for 3 different game types. While the hardware to me is impressive from a customization and durability standpoint, the controller also comes with software for even deeper customization. I'll show you the software and how I've mapped my controller for the best performance in Warzone and multiplayer. To program the controller, all you need to do on Xbox or PC is to download the Xbox Accessories app. I would say the absolute best part of the controller software is that you can literally remap any button, bumper, trigger, rear paddle, D-pad click, or stick input to any other button. You can create your own personal controller that works best for you. Here's how I've mapped the controller and why. Okay, so we're in the Xbox Accessories app here, kind of at the home page. I'll show you here. You can create new profiles. Here are the profiles that I've built into the controller already. You can see I've got my Call of Duty profile, number 1, which corresponds to this number 1 light. Hell Let Loose and Battlefield 2042 correspond to the 2nd light. I haven't changed the name of this profile, but I uninstalled 2042 after playing about 3 games. That's another video entirely, but this is my Hell Let Loose configuration here. So to show you how I have this set up for Call of Duty, if we go into the edit button, here you can see how I've reconfigured the controller. And the big thing that I did here was to reconfigure all these front buttons to the rear paddles. The rear paddles, you can kind of see the edge of this guy here and here, but imagine on the back of the controller, there's a rear right lower paddle, rear right upper, rear left upper, rear left lower. And if you're playing a game like Call of Duty, which is requires a lot of fast precision type movement, especially in close range gunfights, if you have to move directionally and take your thumb off the stick to jump, slide, reload, whatever, you're at a disadvantage. So I remapped those buttons to the rear paddle so that in those fights and just generally, I never have to take my thumb off that right stick. For example, A, I remapped to this paddle here, B to this paddle here, Y to this paddle here, and X to this paddle. Actually, I put X to the bumper up here. To show you how to do that, again, I've got my B button assigned to the lower right rear paddle. The way I did that, you can see this lower right paddle is a B, serves as the B button. If I wanted to change that, I could literally give any function to that paddle. This just happens to be how I've got it set up. But you can literally change any button on this to any other function, which is great. The only difference between my Call of Duty profile and my Hell Let Loose profile is that in Hell Let Loose, I haven't played in a while, but to sprint, you either have to click in on the left stick or the right stick, which I hate to do. It wears out those sticks pretty fast, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt. So instead of clicking in on a paddle, I forget if it's A or B, but I've remapped both of these buttons. The A button is now a left stick click where you click inward, and the B button is a right stick click. So it's very helpful in those games that do not have automatic tactical sprint. I would say the other benefit of this software is that you can really kind of get into the weeds on how you customize and alter your sticks themselves. So you can see we've got this stick here. You can adjust curves, sensitivity curves, whether it's a primary button or a shift button, which is kind of an advanced move. You can change all sorts of functions with the sticks. Plenty of YouTube videos out there that dive deep into the best settings for that, and I watch those to get these configurations. I don't know enough about it to give you any sound advice on this stuff, except to watch videos and learn for yourself what works for you. So you can do that with the left stick, the right stick, and then software-wise with the trigger, you can see the left trigger here. If I were to pull the trigger on my controller right now, you would see it requires full input for it to register a trigger pull. If I move this all the way down here, you can see that now it takes very little input for it to register a trigger pull. This may be more important for the right trigger, which is usually your shoot button. And if you are going to shoot, being able to shoot quickly and responsively is important. So I've got that set all the way down to 0. Okay, that was the software used to fine-tune the controller and to set your profiles. Let's talk now about some of the issues that I've had. I noted previously that I've had the controller or used the controller for about 18 months. I'm currently on my second controller, and I bought one maybe 2 weeks ago to have on backup for when this second one wears out on me. In the time that I've used the controller, and I have spent a lot of time using the controller, I've really only run into 2 issues. First, the bumpers begin to fail maybe after about 8 or 9 months. Now, unless there's a holiday or we're out of town on vacation, I play every night for about 3 hours. Some nights a little more, some a little less. In other words, I put these controllers to the test. Even so, the bumpers begin to become poorly responsive after, like I say, about 8 or 9 months. As you recall, I remapped the controller so that I use the right bumper as my X button, which in Call of Duty means I use it to reload, open loot boxes, doors, etc. And I use the left bumper for tacticals, heartbeat monitor, stuns, and so forth. So those bumpers get a lot of use. I'm on my second controller now, and it seems to be at the early stage of this exact issue. Some games I have to repeatedly press on the bumpers or really squeeze them to get them to respond. It's annoying as hell. It kind of takes you out of your game, and it's the main reason I have that new controller on standby. When you consider the price of the controller, you'd hope they'd last for at least a year or 2. And I would say that's the second issue, cost. I bought the first Elite controller in 2020 for $180. The second one later that year for I think $180 again. And then this third one, my replacement one, on standby for $140. So at least at the time of this video, Xbox seems to be running a sale. I'm recording this on the night of January 28th, 2022, and you can currently buy them for $140. $140 is a steep price to pay for a video game component, but I play a lot. I get a lot of use out of it, and it works for me, and that's why I keep forking out the money. I hope at some point they can, especially with the bumpers, they're always the first to go. I hope that they can somehow remedy that so that I can at least get a year out of the controller. Okay, wrapping up here. At my age, I'll be 47 in a few weeks. Good God. I've used a lot of controllers over the years, even others that offer rear paddles and other features that were maybe gimmicky. This controller for me is by far the best option. And even though the components start to falter, it's still worth it to me because of the freedom it gives you in competitive games, especially Call of Duty and especially Warzone. Now, I'm not sponsored by Microsoft or Xbox, and I earn no money making this recommendation. But trust me, the controller will improve your gameplay in first-person shooters. I'm an old guy, and it's done wonders for me. But to be honest, it'll take time to get used to. When I first got my very first Elite controller, I played a lot of multiplayer just for the repetitions. Using your fingers on the rear paddles instead of moving your thumb to hit A, B, X, or Y does take some practice. So don't worry if you throw a grenade when you meant to jump. I did it 1,000 times. So there is a learning curve for sure. But it should feel like second nature to you maybe after a month. You know, everybody's going to be different. It took me about a month to fully forget that I was using a new controller with a new configuration. And once you've gotten it down, you literally won't be able to play an FPS game without it, or at least not well. Play Minecraft with my daughter, and it's weird using a standard Xbox controller. So it'll change the way your brain is wired, and it'll be hard to play with anything but it going forward. If you have any questions about the controller, feel free to ask away in the comments. I'm happy to help in any way I can. If you like this sort of content or found it helpful, a like and a subscription would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, I hope you have a great week, and thanks for watching.